All right, cool. Well, I'm ready whenever you guys are.
I'm gonna have a little tequila shot since today was an annoying day at work. It wasn't bad.
Right, it's not. Could you wait 3 minutes till 5 o'clock?
No.
No, I'm just kidding.
You know what? Fine, I will.
You do you.
No, you start the show, Brian.
I don't fucking care.
Start the show.
I was just giving you shit.
Go on. Nope.
It's 4:57 somewhere.
Well, yeah, certainly. I mean, it was our fault. We made a mistake. Spotter said it was clear. I wasn't clear, and, I didn't want to tear my car up, tear his car up either. I respect everybody, and I demand respect. And, I apologized to the guy when he came over the car, explained to him what happened, and then he took it to another level when he started calling me an idiot and whatever else. And I don't appreciate that. I'm not going to take it. I told him how I felt. I called him out. He didn't show, and so, I'm good with it if he's good with it, but I'm not going to be disrespected by no means.
Yeah, I guess I had a dinner date at Applebee's last night that I didn't find out about until it was too late. It's a shame. Love their riblets and boneless wings, but...
All right, folks, welcome back to Meet Me at Applebee's, your motorsports sucker punch podcast. I am Brian. With me, as always, is Rob and Ashley, and Rob is about to be doing a shot of tequila as we speak, so he's doing pretty good. Ashley, how you doing today?
I'm doing great because I'm not drinking tequila.
No.
So...
What are you drinking? What do you got over there? Like an old-fashioned or
a little coffee and some water.
A tumbler full of Mad Dog 2020, the Blue Raz?
Jesus.
Fuck that.
Or Johnny Bootlegger, perhaps?
No.
I'm going way off topic. We haven't even started the show, but have you guys seen that guy on Instagram who, cooks shit in a hotel bathroom?
No.
No, I see a lot of weird shit, but I have not seen
It's
that.
fucking gross. And
Are you, taking notes for tour?
it makes me never want to stay in a fucking Red Roof ever again, or wherever this guy's been, because he just uses the bathroom in the hotel or motel. There's no hotels letting this motherfucker in there. But just using the bathroom as his kitchen, and it's fucking disgusting. And the only reason I mentioned Johnny Bootlegger, and it made me think of this. He made a beef stew, and he used purple Johnny Bootlegger in the stew, and it made me want to. And listen, I'm a piece of trash. All right, I'm cool with a lot of that, but when you're making a beef stew with Johnny Bootlegger in a motel bathroom, that's a bridge too far for me. But yeah, let me see if I can find this guy's name, and I'll bring it up at a point in the show later on.
The only
Train kid or something?
Hang on, I'm just gonna find it. It's fucking disgusting.
The only similar story I have is AEW pro wrestler Darby Allin. Before he was a big star, he used to cook chicken breasts on his George Foreman grill in the Planet Fitness bathroom. He used to do that all the time. So
that sounds more sanitary. A Barfly7777 on Instagram if you want to see what I've seen, which I don't know if you do, but good God, yeah. It'll make you look at any motel room you stay in even more harsh light. If all the cum and blood and whatever is everywhere doesn't already skis you out, this is gonna send you full tilt.
Walk around hotel rooms with my eyes closed and my arms outreached.
Just seriously. Fully clothed, hoodie pulled up. Yeah. Shit sucks.
Well, you know who wasn't worrying about hotels this weekend were the
Matt DiBenedetto?
He didn't have to be in a hotel this weekend, but neither did everybody in the Talladega infield, which is where NASCAR was at this weekend. And Talladega's infield is known as one of the craziest partying grounds in all the circuit. And one of the fun things when NASCAR goes to Talladega, aside from the racing itself, is the Twitter thread the following day when the track goes through the infield and takes photos of all of the tents and coolers and grills and all the random trash and bullshit that people leave behind on the Talladega campground.
I look forward to this after every race, every Talladega race.
Yeah.
Generally, it's a lot of the same stuff every year, but usually there's always somebody still passed out the next day, and
Yeah.
Definitely
just a sea of Ozark Trail shit.
Yeah, since the all gas no brakes guys got canceled, we're not seeing their videos of the infield anymore. So I guess that's the next best thing.
They got canceled, like in a corporate way, or in a whoopsie who said the N-word?
Oh, in a whoopsie, I'm a sex pest kind of way.
Oh, whoops! That is a big whoopsie.
Yeah. But
There was
anyways,
a really nice floral couch set that got left behind that. I was
I'm sure it probably looks
somewhere.
nicer than it was.
Why didn't they light it on fire? That's my question. If you're gonna bring a couch all the way to Talladega to abandon it, why wouldn't you light that shit on fire?
Well, I mean, maybe you slept on it overnight and then you just got up and left the next day. What are you gonna burn it? It's fucking 6 a.m?
Yes. Yes, Brian.
On your way to Taco Bell.
On your way to the Taco Bell cantina.
So yeah, aside from what happened in the infield, there was racing this weekend.
There was, yeah, Saturday and Sunday. Again, this is my first, there's probably going to be a lot of bitching about NASCAR in this episode, so if you don't want to hear that, maybe just ignore what I'm saying. But very, very sad that we don't have Friday, Saturday, Sunday shows, the 3-day weekend. I love coming home from work and cracking a beer on Fridays and having qualifying on, or a truck race or something. And yeah, it's always a bummer to see the 2-day shows now. I get why they do it, you know, but especially for people who are camping out there and hanging out, it would be nice to see 3 days of on-track action. But anyway, Saturday there was a truck race. There was an ARCA race. They a lot of action at your local tow yard after that shit.
I didn't watch any of the ARCA race. I have no
I
idea
didn't know
what the
there
hell happened
was
there.
one.
There was an ARCA race, wasn't there?
Oh,
I don't think at Talladega. I think at another track.
Oh, that's right. That was Berlin. But there was enough for the or was it Berlin? We're going to have to delete this whole section because I don't know what happened on Saturday.
Well, I didn't watch anything on Saturday because I was at a wedding.
The truck race felt like an ARCA race. I can say that.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I mean, you know, it was a wreck fest like we all expected it to be. There was another winner that I don't think was in the playoffs. I forget who fucking won. I mean, really, the big story of the race was the fight afterwards. I mean, if we're being honest.
Yeah, Brett Moffitt did win. Which was,
Brett Moffitt, that fucking turd.
Which was, you know, I mean, trucks just seems to be where he thrives. You know, he is definitely good at it. He has kind of the balance of being a veteran and also being able to, like, handle the fucking amateur hour kind of driving around him. So, you know, I wouldn't be surprised to see him get a full-time ride, you know, in that 34 if I had to put money on where he's going next year. I don't know if there's any contracts or anything out there, but he was kind of hitting it maybe going to front row. And Zane Smith is going to be gone. They need someone who's, you know, talented enough behind the wheel to get it done, and I think Brett Moffitt might end up being their guy, but or at least I would have him on my short list because he doesn't suck as much as he seems like not the nicest guy. He definitely doesn't suck at driving a race car. So
No, but like you said, he's definitely not the nicest or most lovable guy in the NASCAR division, and he's definitely not going to be getting a Joey Logano hair club for men deal anytime soon. That's for sure, because he definitely needs it.
31-year-old man right there. Maybe he needs to like wear his helmet a little bit looser or something. I don't know, but whatever, it happens. Male pattern baldness is the thing, but he definitely looks like a 50-year-old fucking AutoZone manager now. He's just touched his 30s, so you know, maybe he'll get that front row contract or something else will come up and he'll start getting some big checks again and he'll be able to, you know, buy a razor and shave it or something. I don't know, but you know, just a word of advice to Brett Moffitt: you're a winner. You can get it done. Now let's work on the outside now, and then the inside. So
that's true, but.
That is true.
Again, the big news, I guess, is the stupid fight that happened that we only saw the very tail end of this fight. There were a couple different angles, but to sum it up, Nick Sanchez made, I don't know, an aggressive move on the track that resulted in Matt Crafton coming down on him and then wrecking a large portion of the field.
Yep.
Crafton confronted Sanchez's team in the pits, but then afterwards waited afterwards for the race because Nick stayed in the race. He didn't wreck out. Waited afterwards, and depending on who you hear it from, may or may not have been hiding behind a stack of tires, waiting to ambush Nick. There's a few different versions of this story. If you ask Matt will say that Nick was running his mouth. If you ask Nick will say that he got sucker punched. Long story short, both drivers will be at Homestead next week. Matt Crafton will be out $25,000, where Nick will only be out $5,000 and whatever his stitches cost in his face. But
that was all glue. Yeah. So
there was a lot of pearl clutching over this, and mainly because after getting punched, Nick was screaming death threats at Crafton, which
no one looked good in this entire.
Nobody looked good, but for people to think that in the heat of the moment, a 20-something-year-old kid who just got socked in the face by some fat fuck who managed to win a title without winning a race, you're gonna say some stuff you regret, as you're being dragged away. So yeah. I don't really take umbrage to that at all. I mean, shit happens. He's a child, and he's
22 years old. I'm sorry.
He's a child.
If you are able to get out there and drive at Talladega in a top level of NASCAR, then you're a grown ass man. I'm sorry. You should. If you can't handle yourself at that level, on or off the track, and that extends to Matt Crafton too, then maybe you don't fucking belong there. That's all I'm saying. Like, if Nick Sanchez in particular, I'm not a big fan of this kid. He's pretty much the archetype of these sort of young truck series drivers who they drive like they'll never have to fix the truck. And of course they never will. There's a lack of respect for the guys building the trucks, and who knows, maybe they don't give a fuck as long as they win races, which they really aren't. So I would if I was working on that truck. But there's a lot of money coming in. There's a big check, coming from somebody, and they don't give a fuck, and they can play like it's iRacing out in the real world. And, Matt Crafton comes from a different time, and, I've got my own opinions on him, too. I'm definitely not a fan, and which is why this whole thing is so entertaining to me, because I don't like either of them. So, God, please, hit each other again. Let's go to Homestead and see some shit, But I just, I think if you are going to go out there and you're going to run in this series and you're going to drive like an asshole, which Nick does, it's not the first time he's done something aggressive to piss somebody off. He completely dumped Hailie Deegan. I believe at IRP is where that was. He does a lot of aggressive blocking. He just, does this all or nothing kind of asshole, will never have to turn a wrench in my life kind of style of racing that we see from a lot of these young kids. And I think that, you deserve to get checked if you continually do that, and someone probably should. Now, if Matt Crafton jumped out from behind a stack of tires like a fucking cartoon character and sucker punched him, then that's some bitch shit too. But I feel like NASCAR issued these penalties, and I'm glad they were pretty soft. Like people scream for this sort of thing where there's personality or anger or whatever, drama, and the second they actually see a real punch connect, it's the end of the fucking world, and Matt Crafton needs to go to jail, and oh my God, fuck off with that. Which actually, I guess that leads me to the Darf of the Week real quick. There was this guy on Reddit who posted, his name is Dark Knight 2000, I'll call him out. He says, NASCAR's only justifiable option is to suspend Matt Crafton permanently. So they gave him a championship without winning, so I think they're not going to suspend his ass.
Yeah.
But give me a fucking break. Come on. This happens, once in a while. You want these guys to be aggressive and all that. You either ban fighting or you don't. NASCAR uses it to promote what's going on. They post these videos as soon as they happen. It doesn't matter whether it was the broadcast capturing it or not. It made it out there in the world, and they're going to use it to promote the series, and it's going to be a talking point going into Homestead and blah, blah, blah. So NASCAR needs this as much as they would like to probably control it. And they've always taken a pretty hands-off position here. So I think those penalties are appropriate. I think it's appropriate that Nick's dad got banned. So Nick's going to have to deliver that $5,000 check to NASCAR himself. His daddy can't do it for him because he got banned for taking a swing, I guess. But so it's very clear NASCAR knows something that the general public hasn't seen. And they've taken all the accounts into, whatever, and this is what they've decided. And I agree with True Love, I don't know if you said this yet on the show, but the penalties, Nick's should be less. than Matt's if you're going to do it. I definitely agree with that, but I don't think that anything higher than what we've seen here. I don't think Parkin, either of these guys, even though you can't be screaming that you're going to kill somebody at the next race, or, sneak attacking somebody.
Well, I think aside from the sneak attack part, it's just the fact that it was like very incredibly premeditated. Like he had plenty of time to think about what he was going to do once that race was over with, and then he went and did that.
He was scoping out the best, tallest stack of tires.
Yeah, maybe he got stuck in a stack, and he had to get out and find one. That's not going to work,
Yeah. I don't know. Crafton is my least favorite truck driver now that Johnny Sauter is basically non-existent. But I mean, that's just the way of the truck series now. It's all a bunch of kids who are out there driving over their heads, acting like, they're never gonna have to turn a wrench or whatever. But also Crafton is just a grumpy old man who has made his entire career in the truck series. So if you don't like racing against inexperienced children every week, then
maybe don't.
I don't know. Yeah.
I agree with that.
Move on with your life.
I agree with that 100%. I mean, and that's the thing. Like, he's not only is he racing against these kids, he's getting beat by them.
Yeah.
Thor Sport is a capable organization. Ty Majeski is out there winning races and going for championships. Matt Crafton has gotten championships before, but he's greatly benefited from this playoff system, and he really hasn't been an active factor in the traditional points chaser in a lot of these races. And correct me if I'm wrong, in a while.
Yeah.
So I can get it, but yeah, I agree with the True Love. Like if you don't like the room you're in, leave the room. Easier said than done, I guess, though.
I guess so.
I think that wraps up the fight discussion. That brings us to the next day.
It does. Real quick, I do want to just shout out Greg Van Alstad, Stuart Friesen, both getting fractured vertebrae as a result of... Friesen was a different wreck, but Greg Van Alst got pretty fucked up in that wreck that Nick Sanchez caused. So
see, you mentioned Friesen. Now, I was concerned, obviously... because he is going to be running Oswego this weekend, but it's weird. He posted that he was going to be running, but he didn't. He mentioned his lower back, but didn't mention that it was actual broken vertebrae. It just sounded like he was sore or something.
He mentioned the area, so I assumed it's a fracture or something like that. I want to say I read that, but either way, he got hurt. Greg Van Alst sounds like he's going to be out for a while with a fractured vertebrae. Yeah, so. This is the kind of thing, and this is kind of like why I am, as angry as not angry, I guess, but like why I have an aggressive stance when it comes to kids like Nick Sanchez and all that, because there are real life consequences to racing the way that Nick does, and Carson Hocevar has, he's probably the big star when it comes to driving like an asshole in the truck series, but like there are consequences. This is still big boy shit, And, you see someone like Haley Deegan who gets a lot of shit for, not getting good finishes, but then she constantly gets wrecked by people. And she doesn't race in that way. She doesn't race in an aggressive way. She does race kind of with respect. And she gets punished for it. So
we don't actually know how well she can race because she usually gets wrecked out before.
Exactly. Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, she doesn't play that game. She doesn't get as aggressive as some of these guys do, and she suffers for it. And if that's the way that we're going to be racing in the truck series, then, I don't necessarily think I like the future of where things are going if that's going to be the standard. But I don't know. That's a discussion for another time, I guess.
Yeah, we can save that for the next time this happens.
But speaking of the opposite, Sunday was pretty fucking clean.
It was, but, I think watching the race last week from 87 really gave me a different lens to watch this race through, if that makes sense, because, granted, it was an okay race, and there was three wide racing for most of the time, and there weren't too many crazy wrecks until the very end, and even then it was just two technically, I guess.
Ricky Stenhouse was trying. He was doing his best to.
Well, he did a good job of taking out my boy Ross. That's for fucking sure. So that was great.
Ran out of gas.
Yeah.
Ugly ass bread car ran out of gas.
That really was the ugliest car. And JTG has pulled some stinkers out when it comes to the paint job department. And
See,
this
I know,
one,
I know some people are going to disagree. I didn't mind it from a conceptual standpoint. I think on the track it looked like shit, but as far as like the idea, I thought it was cool.
Right. It just didn't translate well to
No, it didn't.
being visually
gross. It's fucking gross. You wanted to see it, Rick. You did not want to see that car in Victory Lane with sprinkles on
God,
top
can
of
you
it,
imagine?
or like whatever the fuck confetti.
But yeah, it was a long 3-wide dance. People seem to enjoy it, but I think it was just really, really tense. That was the thing. Those last 20 laps, I know Ashley talked about feeling incredibly tense watching certain races finish, but I was just on edge. Like it took me a few minutes after the race to kind of like let my heart rate sit down, because like it was just so fucking tense watching those 2 laps, waiting for them to wreck, and thankfully they did it
Right.
as everybody was crossing the start finish line, so we got like a real true finish.
Corey
Unlike the
LaJoy
last-
just couldn't not push for like 9th place.
No, he ended up 4th, so
I guess it worked.
Yeah, after you
It
take
worked.
out a bunch of guys in front of you.
yeah.
Maybe he can pay Nick Sanchez's fine since they have the same sponsor. So
I just want to say that despite LaJoy's best efforts, Chase still finished in the top 10 backwards and got us those free fried pickles at Hooters. So,
the only
Take
reason I
that.
like to see a
Take that,
top
Corey.
10 from Chase Elliott is them pickles.
And
We prevailed.
Bringing America together.
yeah.
Riley Herbst did actually pretty well. He, from everybody from Ford, it seemed like he was a great person to have behind you pushing. And, he's pretty, to me, he's pretty well known for wrecking a lot in Xfinity, but he managed to keep his car clean until he got wrecked by LaJoy as well. But I think he still finished 9th, I want to say.
Yeah, well, it's interesting to see these like younger guys like him and Carson Hocevar and all that. When they get into the Cup Series, it's almost like they kind of snap to attention a little bit because they know Kyle Busch is gonna come over there and pop their eyeballs out with his thumbs if they fuck up. You know what I mean? Like, this is your big audition. You can't fuck around anymore. You're on the big stage. So, and Riley I think he's only done plate races, right?
I think so, yeah.
And he's pretty handy at them. So I don't know. He knows it's his chance, and
And he's been wrecking less. He's been running better in Xfinity, so
he has.
good for him.
He has. But in the Cup Series in particular, Riley has stepped up a lot, and he's been in the mix of both of the ones he's run this year, I believe. I remember him being up there in Daytona or whatever the last plate race he ran. He was kind of hanging out in the top 10, 15, looking pretty good. So
He's in the Ford program. He's got money behind him. I wouldn't be shocked to see him in a Cup car, if not next year, 2025. But I feel like it's going to happen sooner than later. I mean, we still don't know what the hell has happened at the SHR with the 10 car, so that could be a spot for him. Who knows?
yeah, Cole Custer's the big one they're talking about, or that I'm hearing anyway, on the internet. And it seems like the most logical one. He's got Cup experience, and
Yeah.
Who knows? But I guess we'll see. But he did do a good job, so shout out to Riley Herbst for not sucking.
But yeah, Ryan Blaney managed to get his 3rd win at, is it 3rd at Talladega or 3rd plate race? I can't remember.
3rd at Talladega.
Yeah.
3rd at Talladega. So he ended up, it was a thriller of a finish, barely edging out Kevin Harvick, who ended up getting DQ'd anyways.
Wouldn't have won the race anyway. Yeah.
Yeah, but
Always fucking around with those windows, Rodney Childers is.
it almost worked,
Yeah. You guys remember Atlanta a few years ago when they had the flexing window supports?
The rear window. On
The
that
rear
one?
window? Yeah.
Yeah.
That was fucking smart.
He's like, well, that didn't work. Let's try the front window.
Try the front. And it worked. So,
but yeah, really I don't know what else we got to talk about with this race. Was there any notes you guys had?
well, we don't really
we
talk
missed?
about the playoffs a whole lot. It's probably worth kind of taking a look at those point standings and having a little discussion if you guys want to. It's pretty tight at the bottom, and no one except for Denny Hamlin, who, by the way, I was calling all sorts of names throughout the race for his desperation moves to stay on the lead lap, splitting the field, almost killing everybody. and
It's like a
then
new
getting a pit road.
move.
Look, he finished third and is now 50 points above the cut line and essentially locked into the playoffs. Fucking kudos, buddy. I'm not going to take back all the mean things I said about him in
No,
private
the
and
sponsors
public.
seem right, but
Yeah, but wow, fucking impressive. So thank God for the lucky dog, huh? Which he didn't get that one time.
That was pretty funny.
He almost
I'll give
killed
him that.
everybody, and then Carson Hocevar gets the fucking lucky dog. But
Looking at the bottom four here, I mean, yeah, Kyle Busch is in last place in the top 12, and he's still only 19 out. So I mean,
he wants to pop his own eyeballs out at this point.
yeah. It's almost anybody's race. I mean, I would say Reddick's only 2 points out, so unless he has a bad day, I'm sure he'll make it in, because Keselowski's not really known for his road course prowess. Bubba's close. Bubba's only 9 out. Chastain's 10 out. Oh no, wait. Bush is 26 out. So yeah, he's probably not going to make it. He's almost going to have to win, I think. I don't know.
yeah, it's gonna be tight. And Kyle Larson was about 30 points above the cut line before his little Corey LaJoie's little dalliance.
I mean, he's 15 above now, so I mean, he's gonna have to have a really bad day too. I feel like.
And then Martin Truex Jr., who is just checked out mentally, it seems, completely, and that team is not racing anymore, is still ahead of Larson in the points. It just shows you how important winning a regular season championship is. But I guess all of that, just my question to you guys is, we're sitting on the edge of a cut race. Who do you think is going to Phoenix at this point? If you had to pick today.
Ashley, you can go first.
Hamlin, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I'm sure Byron will big hat his way into it. And I don't know. Maybe this lights a little fire under Blaney. I'm hoping Blaney will make it. Final spot.
Drum roll, please.
I don't know. I feel like unless Larson fucks up big time this weekend, I think he'll snake his way in there too.
Yeah.
See, that pretty much is my top 4. I would say I would like to see Reddick over Larson as a fan. I'd also like to see Reddick over Byron as a fan, but Byron, I feel like he's too strong and too consistent. I would say out of the 4, Blaney is probably the one that I'm least confident, I guess. But he's good at Phoenix, and he's good at these last couple tracks. So he's the last Penske car in it. So I'm sure every effort that whole organization has is going to go towards him these next few races. So
Only Ford left.
no, Busher is in there, and
Keselowski's in there too. Yeah.
yeah, but I mean, Keselowski's again. He's going to have to do really well this weekend to make it in, because he's going to have to beat Reddick basically, and that's going to be tough.
Yeah, I'm going to stick with the same 4 I had last week. Definitely William Byron, we all agree on that. Denny Hamlin, we all agree on that. He's just too fucking good right now. Kyle Larson, if he can keep it out of the damn fence, he's running just as good as Denny Hamlin in principle, or on principle, so I got to keep him in there. And I'm going to say Martin Truex Jr. I really think that we're coming up on a strong stretch of tracks for him. If he makes it out of this round, which he's good at road racing, so I would say he's, despite his recent performance, I think if there's a place for him to suddenly bounce back, I would say it'd be Charlotte, and then it's on to a bunch of places he's good at. So I'm still going to keep the faith there, and I think Martin Truex will make it to Phoenix.
Unless this weekend Jimmy Johnson magically appears and Will hops and takes him out.
Yeah, he just from out behind a stack of tires. My God, it's Matt Crafton's music.
Ashley, are you still going this weekend or no?
Yeah, I'm going this weekend.
Hell yeah.
Okay, yeah.
But hey, real quick though, I mean, Blaney, I gotta say, you gotta watch out for him too, but don't sleep on Chris Buescher, y'all. This is he's been up there in the mix every single race recently. Like, he's certainly somebody who can get this done. And I don't know if he's got it in him to win the championship, but I would not be surprised
I wouldn't be surprised
to see him make it to Phoenix. So
He's the sleeper pick for sure.
No one's looking at it. So I don't even know what the odds are, but if you're a betting man or a betting lady or a betting they, whatever you happen to be, maybe it's a good time to go out there and get on DraftKings or whatever. And
I was looking at him. I was looking at him today, and I think he's like 650 or 750. I want to say to win the championship.
Little payout there, boys and girls. So. Yeah, there's only 8 people to choose from at the end of the day, and I think Buescher is going to be one of them. I think. I don't think none of us think Kyle Busch is going to get this right.
No,
Shit's over.
lap 1, turn 1, he's driving straight into the heartburn turn to just end it all already.
Yeah, through the safer barrier and all the way back to his beautiful fucking Mooresville lake house.
Yeah, I think he's real fucking over it right now.
Yeah. Oh, well, yes. Oh, he sold his truck team. Have we talked about that? That was last week we talked about that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was last week.
Who knows what's happening in NASCAR? Everything happens within a week of each other, so these shows always fall in weird times. I never know when we actually... Iowa is the big news, though.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say. I mean, okay, real quick, too, before we get to Iowa. Indy got announced to be coming back, but basically the day after the fucking road course race, the track more or less announced it to begin with. So if people all of a sudden a month later were like, oh, it's finally got announced, like, motherfuckers, the track itself said it without saying it the day after. I don't know why people were like shocked to see it officially announced, because it was basically going to happen anyways.
I mean, everyone knew, but yeah, no official announcement had been made, and certainly not with the original logo and, sponsor and all that shit. So it sounds like it's going to have a throwback bent to it as well, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
There's Darlington a chance seems to have shipped off a little bit from the throwback thing being exciting.
Yeah,
So-
well, when you do it every year and there's no organization to it and people just do whatever the fuck they want, and there's 3 cars with the same fucking Alan Kawicki scheme in this race, like, Jesus Christ, like, it is kind of a disappointment now because the effort for that race is not put into it. We'll see what this year at Indy is like, for the 30th anniversary. There's kind of a chance I want to go, even though I know I'm not gonna be able to see shit. But,
Yeah, I would like to go experience it. The Brickyard 400, the inaugural one, was a really big thing in my childhood. I was so excited for that race when it happened because, I grew up being a big IndyCar fan. So I thought it was really cool to see those worlds collide. And after, a few years of road racing, I'm happy to see NASCAR go back and give it a shot with this new car. And especially to embrace or at least try to embrace the enormity of what that event is and its status as an unofficial crown jewel. Because NASCAR doesn't really have crown jewel events, I guess, but you got to count Indianapolis in there on the oval as being one of them if you do. So,
well,
definitely excited to see that come back.
Rob, they still have crown jewels. The 500 is crown jewel. The 600 is a crown jewel. Southern 500
But is that a thing that anyone ever is actually an official thing that we talk, or is it just something that fans talk about?
Well, it was a thing forever until people stopped sponsoring, like, those races as, like, special events and, like, Winston will give you X amount of money or if
the
you
Noble
qualify
5
for
and all that.
Yeah, like, I guess in that sense, the prestige isn't quite what it used to be, but those are the races, like, they are the known races.
Those are the ones you want to win.
Exactly. And that said, I'm happy to see NASCAR gain such a legendary facility back because it just isn't the same on the road course, whether you like the racing or not.
It felt weird seeing him kiss the bricks after winning the road course.
I agree. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, so Iowa. Cool.
Iowa's
We're getting
back. That's cool. Not going to Canada.
Richmond.
Not going to Canada. We're going to Iowa instead, which is, I'm excited for it. I've wanted to see Cup cars there for a long time, so that's neat.
Same.
I don't know if I need to see another Richmond on the schedule with cars running the way they are, but it is what it is.
That'd be fine. Speaking of tracks where the Cup cars don't run so well, but other cars do, the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour was at the mighty North Wilkesboro Speedway over the weekend, and they put on a hell of a show on Saturday. Did you guys watch that at all?
No.
I watched the little highlight clip that you sent us.
Yeah.
So I saw 5 minutes worth.
It was great. It was a great race. Makes me regret not going Looks like there was a shit ton of people there, which was awesome. Usually you don't see crowds that big, especially at the Southern Tour races. But yeah, that place was pretty packed for a modified tour race. I would say the only crowd that probably rivals that is the one that shows up at Loudon. So that's fucking huge. They were supported by the Carolina Crate Modified Series, and they had to pause the feature because there were so many fucking wrecks to get the NASCAR race in. So that was pretty awesome. Classic B-mod behavior seeping over into the pavement world. My dude Austin Beers was on the pole and fucked up on pit road and ran over a hose or something and threw it all away. And then Money Matt Hirschman came in and stole the show. Big battle between, again, Ron Silk and Justin Bonsignor for the like 4th or 5th place, but for the championship pretty much. And they go still separated by 2 points into Thompson this coming weekend if they get it in with all the rain coming. Fuck my ass. It never stops up here. There hasn't been a dry weekend in I don't know how long, but yeah, I recommend watching the highlights. I'll probably post a link to it. That is my Uncle Rob's fucking septic tank race of the week, is the Whelen Modified Tour at North Wilkesboro. So fucking cool to see that facility back, you know. And I know you guys were there in person. You probably didn't watch the broadcast, but the way they filmed that place and the way the signage pops on television and the way it's lit, everything about it just looks special.
Well,
and that carried all the way over into the modified broadcast where it's just a couple cameras for flow or whatever. You know, it looks amazing, and it makes me even more pissed off that I didn't make it down there. And I've kind of changed my mind about maybe wanting to go to the All-Star race yet again because it just looks so good, you know.
I mean, it comes across that way in real life too, so it's good that it was able to be seen that way on TV for sure.
Yeah.
So
it doesn't take much, it says a lot about what the effort they put into the facility. So
yeah. What else we got in your septic tank there?
Well, I just wanted to say before we move on, the last race on that surface that's been there since the 80s, I believe.
Yes, they are going to be repaving it for next year, so I guess I don't know. I'm on the fence. After going once, and you know, it's still tough for me to get to want to go to any of the short track races with the cars running the way they are, but maybe
I think the other series are going to put on a show if they go there, though. The Cars Tour races are good. The Modifieds are great. And it'll take a few years for it to, you know, kind of work its way in, I think. So we might see some different kind of racing, you know. But, yeah, my hopes aren't too high for the Cup cars still. But I think everyone else will put on a good show. And I don't know. It seems like even if that All-Star race was boring to watch in person as it was on TV, you know, even though I enjoyed the shit out of it.
Of course you did.
It's got to be nice to sit out there in that place. But what else happened in the short track septic tank this week? BC 39 was this weekend at Indianapolis on the little, not the road course. That's right, there's another racetrack out there for all you non-short track folks. There's a little quarter-mile bull ring they built over by the golf course, which I'm sure the golfers love to get pelted with dirt clods when they're out there trying to get a late 18 holes in. But Justin Grant beat his teammate Thomas Meserol on that. That was a great battle. Unfortunately, another vertebrae injury. Austin Barnhill flipped in one of the heats, and he's going to be out for a little while recovering. So thoughts and prayers and all that shit with him. Ricky Thornton Jr. picking up a big win at the Pittsburgher in the Lucas Oil Late Model Series out at PPMS. That's a really dirty-sounding racetrack name, and I hate saying it out loud, but I'll do it one more time. PPMS. And that locks... He's already locked into the Lucas Oil Final Four, which, again, they have their own stupid playoff championship thing like NASCAR does. It's a little different, and I'd say it's a little more similar to what we saw, I think, anyway, in the Nextel era. So it's a little better, but still, RTJ going to a place to face off against Jonathan Davenport, Hudson O'Neal, and Devin Moran, a track where all three of those guys are better than he is at. So he's probably going to lose the Lucas Oil Championship this year by virtue of the title-deciding race being in a place that he runs like dog shit at, which I hate that. But anyway, Brandon Shepard also completely shat the bed this weekend, decided to switch to a Bloomquist chassis for the race at Raceway 7, another fucking weird racetrack name. A weekend at Raceway 7 and PPMS. How about that? sounds like ChatGPT made that shit up.
Yeah, Jesus.
Well, yeah, he decided to switch to a different chassis and just completely. No one knows why he did it. There's actually a great Dirt Tracker Live video that kind of breaks it down, and he's just as confused as I am. But just completely lit his chance of going to Eldora with a shot at the title on fire. Sorry, Brandon Overton. Excuse me, my bad. Not Brandon Shepard. B-Shep's cool. What else happened here? Mike Marlar won on a Friday night again. Bobby Pierce won there too, and then Sam Ramo wins the Smart Modified Tour race down at, where the fuck was that? Who cares? Radford. So it took yet another Yankee coming down to the south and showing the Southern boys how to run a modified. So that's Uncle Rob's short track septic tank. And actually, one more thing before we move on to what you guys want to hear, which is our video of the week, because it's going to be fucking, it's a good one. My personal favorite late model driver, Johnny Scott, him and his brother Stormy, they're both from Las Cruces, New Mexico. Twin brothers running in the Lucas Oil and World of Outlaws series. Johnny is selling all of his shit and hanging up his helmet and calling it a day in racing. It's a sad day for me. It's always cool for me to see somebody from New Mexico, where I'm from, go out there and compete on that at that level and have some success. I think Stormy probably won a little bit more than Johnny did, but I've got a bunch of Johnny Scott t-shirts and hoodies and the whole thing, and people look at me like I'm crazy when I go up to the racetrack wearing them, because like, how the fuck do you know who that guy is? And he's like, I don't. He's just from New Mexico, and I got to root for my own. So I'm going to raise my little Bush Heavy here up for Johnny Scott for a career, a hard-earned career, and I hate to see him go. I'm not really sure why he's retiring. I know he's had some health issues or something like that, or that's what I've heard. I don't want to say anything that I can't confirm, and honestly, he's been very quiet about all of it. Maybe he's just tired of it. I don't know. But he's selling all this shit. So if you want to buy a couple of nice Longhorn chassis, then talk to old Johnny, because he's selling the shit. So that's Uncle Rob's short track septic tank. Clem on down here with me next week.
Well, the only note I have is I do plan on trying to go to Super Dirt Week at Oswego. Only Saturday though, because it's my birthday week and I got other stuff going on. But as of right now, like Rob has mentioned, the Northeast has just had the absolute shittiest, wettest year for racing, and the chances of rain from Thursday to Monday range from 60 to 100%, with 100% being on Saturday. So while I'll be in the area, we'll see if any racing actually happens.
Yeah.
It'd be nice, but I'm going to make the effort. So if you're out there, give me a shout.
I mentioned Thompson earlier. I will be there in theory for all 3 days of the Thompson World Series at the Thompson International Raceway. And we'll see what we get in. But it looks like Friday night looks okay. Sunday looks like it's going to be pretty clear. So looks like there'll be some racing this weekend. But maybe come find me in my fucking Jetta and we'll drink a beer in there while we complain about weather.
Yeah, pack your little ponchos and your Walmart Crocs.
Oh, I got them. I got the real thing right here. I take my little gibbets out, my little Croc Charms. That's right, I got those. By the way, NASCAR drivers, maybe you should start making those. Huh?
I'm willing to bet you can find some somewhere. Not that I've looked.
There's
but
not
there
as
have
many
to
as you'd expect.
I don't know how many I should be expecting.
If you like Luke Combs, though, there's a lot of those. So. That motherfucker's got his own line of CROCs. So
Killing on those things too.
I feel like I see those things at flea markets and stuff, but I mean, again, I wear my Crocs fairly rarely, so I don't really need to accessorize them at all.
Yours
So
unbedazzled.
Yeah, they're totally fine. I wear them in sport mode. There's sport mode sometimes. Most of the time, just casual mode. But I don't need charms on it.
Yeah, I only put them in sport mode when I'm driving, because I don't want to lose a Croc under my my brakes or anything like that.
That's fair.
Jesus Christ. As far as my own little tidbit about your septic tank, short track, whatever, my boy Chase Elliott got in a dirt late model over the weekend at Talladega.
Ooh.
He did not
That's
make the A-main, but
Corey Hedgecock
was there racing too. So
Corey Hedgecock win at the. He did win at the I wanted to call it the Ice Bowl. That's the opening event. That's not what it's called. Talladega Short Track. I did not know Chase raced that. I missed that entire
Yeah, I didn't
fucking
know
thing.
either.
He made a little surprise appearance.
Yeah. Well, maybe he should spend a little more time in a dirt late model. They're fun.
It's just for funsies. Yeah.
Just for funsies.
Do we do Darf first? Because there's Darfs to talk about.
Oh,
I know there's Darf.
We mentioned him briefly. Yeah, I didn't hand out a punishment or anything like that. But I guess it would be my punishment for our Darf of the week for thinking that Matt Crafton should be thrown out of NASCAR for all of eternity is 2 hours in a laser tag arena with a bunch of children, just pushing him into a corner and repeatedly lighting him up so he can't shoot his gun. If you ever had that happen to you, it is traumatic. So those kids are fucking ruthless, man. So that's for my Darf of the week. What was his name again? Dark Knight 2000. Darf Knight 2000.
2000.
Thank you, True Love.
Speed
Only
rebrand.
the coolest and most stable people have any sort of Dark Knight reference in their screen
Oh,
name
you're Batman.
or profile.
Talking about
whatever.
Batman.
He honestly probably works at the local laser tag, and this happens to him on. a
Yeah, he gets
regular
blooded up by
basis. Yeah.
47-year-old men.
Yes. That's why he's so angry.
He sees himself in Nick Sanchez's shoes.
So yeah, I guess that brings us to the video of the week segment, and it's a stark change from last week's video because there's no racing on this one. Just,
Not at all.
Just a battle between two teams on Family Feud. We got Team Mayfield versus Team Harvick, and
Well, it's 2004, right? Was when
yeah,
this is from?
This is 2004. So Jeremy Mayfield was driving for Evernham Motorsports. He was doing. I'm pretty sure he made the chase this year, his first year of the chase. And Kevin Harvick, he's still in his baby Harvick era. He and his wife Delana are still looking like children here. Kevin still has all of his hair, and it's all still brown, which is I forgot what he looked like there.
And also, Richard Karn is still the host. That's Al from Home Improvement, for those of you keeping score at home. This is not the great Steve Harvey era just yet.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say. So we'll start off this show. Let me make my gripe about Al here.
What?
Just like a complete lack of charisma and not funny at all. Like, I don't know why the fuck they picked him to be the host of this show. I mean, Ray Combs, again, had a very dark ending, but was tons of energy and tons of he was funny, but also engaging with the contestants on the show. And then obviously you have Steve Harvey now as the host, who there's all sorts of
Unhinged.
Just complete chaos with him as the host, and you see the viral clips of the shit that people say all the time. You get none of that in this show. It is just awkward answers.
It's very family friendly, and I think it was when this show was still trying to find its footing with a new host and see where it sat. And again,
Before
Steve
they
Harvey
moved on to Louis Anderson.
That's right. Yeah.
Oh, I forgot he was even part of this too. Yeah, I liked Louis Anderson, but he's no Steve Harvey. Let's just say that.
Yeah, definitely a weird era of game shows where everyone was trying to replace folks, because this is around the same time that Bob Barker left Price is Right and they brought in Drew Carey, right?
Yeah.
I think so.
So it was a lot of this like next generation, trying to find how you're going to keep these giant franchises alive, kind of like NASCAR, actually.
Kind of.
Interesting little parallel there that I hadn't thought of.
This video, so there were a couple different rips of it online. One was broken up in parts, and maybe the quality was a slight bit better, but this one was all in one piece, so I decided to use this one for the playlist. But it was titled Best Family Feud Episode Ever. Not even fucking close. Maybe this person is just a huge Jeremy Mayfield fan, and that's why they picked
really
that
got my
title.
hopes up about it, and
Yeah, I mean,
disappointed.
Let me get into my actual notes here, because I have a fair amount to say about this. So basically, again, it's Team Mayfield versus Team Harvick. You've got both the drivers and their wives, and then each team consisted of a couple different like crew or PR members. Like Harvick, the last guy in Harvick's crew Kirk. They just said he's our guy. Like he didn't have like a specific title. Like he wasn't like a PR guy. He wasn't like a crew member. They just said he was like a guy. I don't know what the fuck that
They
means.
said he was the pilot, the team pilot.
Yeah, that's what.
What really? See, I didn't hear that.
I heard someone throw that in at the end. I don't know. Maybe I misheard.
Maybe. But either way, his title was a little less defined than everybody else's.
Nobody on Harvick's team has an ounce of charisma either, though, if you want to talk about that. That all goes solely to the awkward Jeremy Mayfield family.
Yeah, I didn't necessarily expect the outcome that we got at the end of this, but Team Mayfield really had it all together. They took
very
an
good
early
at
lead.
Family Feud.
Yeah, they did very well. The questions, like we said, are pretty tame. Again, this was 2004. They had a show car there that was all painted up with the Nextel colors, and again, first year of the chase and all that. So it makes sense as to why these guys were doing a show like this, I guess, is to help promote the sport and all that and the changes within the sport. But the questions were asked, they were all incredibly PG. The answers were all very, not even PG rated, really, if we're talking about rating systems or whatever. The first question asked, what the fuck, where are my notes here? Name something a driver might do before a race. Now, again, the answers provided are just asked to random fucking people, so the answers we get are a little bit all over the place, but you would think that the people involved in the sport would give better responses. Jeremy Mayfield answered the bathroom first, which, again, makes sense, and he's, they all fucking do that, and that was like the fourth answer given, like the fourth ranked answer given.
Shocking.
It would be higher ranked.
Kevin Harvick said driver's meeting. What fucking idiot off the street is gonna say that?
Oh, they go to the driver's meeting. Yeah.
What absolute?
They were giving very specific answers.
Yeah. Complete brain dead answer by Kevin Harvick.
Who's trying to do her shopping down at the local mall? Who's getting surveyed?
Yeah. Well, they adjust the track bar. That's for sure. They get that thing hooked up.
We go through the Mayfield team first. Shayna says Emil, which wasn't on the board. Josh just said gets in his car, like that was his answer, and they accepted check car as the number 2 answer. Which, again, what the fuck does that even mean? Again, nobody knows what the hell these
walk around, kick the tires, make sure the blinkers work.
The next guy,
oil stick.
Yeah, give the horn a couple toots. Make sure the inspection's been taken care of.
The next guy on the team says puts helmet on, which that was on the board. Brian, the PR guy, says meet and greet with fans or sponsors. Who the fuck's gonna answer that? Mayfield, again, he's the last person to answer. He says
do a couple
talks
lines.
To the team. Yeah. A couple.
Get fucking stoked.
So the Mayfield team, they answered 3 questions, or it gave three bad answers. So Harvick's chance to steal, and they say put click your seatbelt or whatever. That's not on the board. So Harvick loses the points.
Again,
the top answer though.
I was so annoyed by this answer.
The fans asked this on the street. Number 1 was pray. What's fucking insane?
But is it though? Because it's part of every fucking broadcast.
Right, but I didn't expect it to be number 1 with 64 people saying it.
They didn't find 100 of us.
Yeah.
Bunch of fucking heathens.
Did they survey at the local Baptist church? I mean,
yeah, they did.
God damn.
The other answers that the teams missed were rest. Again, rest? What the fuck? Yeah. Ridiculous.
Well, get a good nap in, before you...
Drink liquids, which makes sense, and then get focused. Again, another one that just...
Richard Petty didn't drink
strange.
liquids.
He did not drink liquids. Other news, my mom randomly met Richard Petty today. They were just decided to drive to North Carolina for no reason and went to the fucking museum, and there he was. So
nice.
There's my little note for the day.
Thirsty as ever, Richard Petty was.
The next question. So the next question. This is where the show starts to go off the rails. Name a part of your. What's that?
It gets PG-13 right here.
Yeah, it gets PG-13
Rated
here. Although
PPMS.
it could get R, and it doesn't get R, which annoys me. But round 2, name a part of your body. Name a part of your body if you'd be surprised to hear your grandma gets pierced,
That's the
which is
best
such a
part of the whole
fucking
show.
weird question.
The best part of the whole show.
Shayna takes the answer or gets the best first response with the nipple. Bosom was the
couldn't wait
answer
to say
provided
it.
by the crowd, but yeah, she
And she was right.
She was right. She was bursting at the seams there.
Probably just got her nipples pierced like last week. It was fresh on her mind.
I just thought that you couldn't say nipple on television in
They
in
seem so
2004.
appalled that she said nipple.
And it says bosom up on the board, which is not a word that has been used since the 1930s.
No,
So
no one's piercing their entire bosom.
Yeah, really. Just one big bar. through
Grandma!
both tits. Delana gave nose as her answer, which was right below the nips, but still did not get control of the board. Going through the team, Team Mayfield, the first guy answered belly button, which, yes, that was on the board. The
one.
next guy
his mama got his. Hers pierced.
Next guy said eyebrow. That was not on there. Brian, the PR guy, said tongue, which, yes, that would be very surprising.
11 people said tongue. Yeah.
Jeremy said lip, which no. And he meant the lips up top, not the ones down below, which nobody fucking gave that answer.
Ryan!
That would have been a very surprising thing to hear from Grandma.
Hello, it's your vagina.
There we go. I was hoping that voice would come in when I made that reference. There it is.
Hello.
And then Shayna was the last person to answer, and she just gave the most deflated, like, I don't know, fucking your ears, and somehow ears were on the board, actually. The
she
most
wanted to
normal thing to
say-
get pierced.
She wanted to say.
Yeah, she wanted to
Yeah.
say vagina so bad, but she already
Maybe
got
she did.
scowled at for saying nipples.
Yeah.
Couldn't remember the actual word.
So we're at the end of round 2 here, and Team Mayfield is up 114-0. Now the race was to 300 points. The next round.
Well, before we move on to the next round, I want to bring up the commercials here, because this particular rip of the video that we were watching is just the perfect encapsulation of just the black hole void that afternoon television in the early 2000s was.
Well, no. Here's the thing, though. This was definitely not ripped in 2004. It was probably ripped from the Game Show Network because it was uploaded 10 years ago. And based on the commercials, I'm gonna say this was probably aired sometime between 2010 and 2012, because those commercials that were on there were not from the early 2000s. I'm
No,
enough of a
but
commercial
still,
connoisseur.
That's right, but it's still a perfect encapsulation of just how I haven't watched television in the middle of the day unless it's a NASCAR race in a long time. But this
So
is
I will-
just like reminds
I will
me of
s-
working at Quiznos when I was like 19 doing dishes, and it was just vapid.
Every commercial was geared at elderly people.
Yeah.
For sure. And I will say, as someone who a lot of times during the day I'll have
Is
like
elderly.
yeah, fuck you. A lot of times during the day I'll have like
Is that what you
CNN
said?
on, or maybe sometimes Tubi. I'll put Tubi on and put some random old shit on. And any broadcast TV, these commercials are still pretty much like this in 2023. So yeah, they haven't really changed much the last decade or so. But they're all just trash old people commercials. There were 0 NASCAR commercials, which again I wasn't expecting any commercials in this broadcast, to be honest. But there were none NASCAR related because again, this was on like the Game Show Network or something. So they were all pretty boring. But since we're on the subject of commercials, we might as well talk about the best one. It's not till the next commercial break, but since we're on the subject, let's talk about the glasses that were Zoomies. Zoomies is what they're called.
Zoomies.
Zoomies.
So these were binoculars that you could wear on your face, basically. They were the goofiest. Basically,
Who doesn't need that?
the meme of
wouldn't?
the 8-bit cat or dog with the glasses that come down on it, like deal with it meme. That's what these glasses look like in real life. And yeah, it's just the stupidest fucking things, and they're only $10. And I looked up
They're
the website.
so cheap. It was
The website,
2 for
unfortunately,
1 also.
the website is no longer active. Unfortunately, you can buy
Really?
the domain name. You can buy the
can buy
domain
these
name
on
for $4
eBay.
grand.
Shocked.
Yeah, they're on eBay for twice the price.
Oh well, it's still a bargain at that price. So that brings us to round three of the questions. Points are doubled now. This question was name something women leave all over the bathroom. Now, there are women in this game. Each team has a woman on
It's a
it.
fact, yeah.
And yet somehow these answers did not line up. I think the first guy, Scott, said hair, like just hair all over the fucking place.
Hair everywhere.
And
was on the
then
board.
Josh, it was on the board. It was number 3. And then the top answer was underwear, but they accepted it as clothes, whatever fucking reason. Another guy says makeup, which is on the board. The one guy, Brian, says brushes, like just multiple brushes over the fucking bathroom. Jeremy says hair dryers. He says multiple hair dryers. Like maybe Shayna has 4 or 5 hair dryers for cooking different things in the bathroom. Who the fuck knows? But yeah, can't say that I've ever been in a household myself that's had more than one hair dryer in it.
For those of
And
you
then
who might not know what we're referencing, just Google Jeremy Mayfield real quick.
Yeah.
Spend 5 minutes.
If you're listening to this show, you should know the answer.
Yeah.
But for the couple out there, yeah, just Google it. And Shayna answers jewelry, which, again, isn't on the fucking board. But then we go to Team Harvick. It's their chance to steal the points and even up the score. And what's their answer? Magazines. And he threw his wife under the bus here and said Delana said that. It was fucking magazines.
Classic.
No, magazines are not on the fucking board. So now Team Mayfield is up 266-0. We go into one more round, and this is triple points. Really, it could be anybody's game at this point. And nope. Let's see here.
Just like the NASCAR playoffs, you know.
Yeah. Harvick's team does gain control. The question is name something babies do multiple times a day. And Harvick's guy, Billy, answered cry immediately, which, yep, that was on the board. I think it was
Pretty
the
easy
first one.
I mean, babies can only do a couple things. So.
Exactly, yeah. So it was cry, poop, eat, and sleep, which
Pierce
the
their
whole team...
nipples.
Yeah, pierce their nipples.
Sucking on that pierced teeth.
So...
Both sides.
With this actual successful round, this gets Team Harvick within a couple points of Team Mayfield. So now we have a sudden death. Whoever gets the top answer moves on to the final round. It's Kirk versus Brian. Something people do at a scary movie. And Brian it's a complete walk-off, says scream, and that's the top answer. So Team Mayfield is going to the finals. Now, these guys were not playing for any money for themselves. Both teams were... their charity was Victory Junction Gang, so it was 20 grand to win was going to go to the Victory Junction camp, no matter who actually won the fucking thing. And I don't know, the last round is just it's just they call it fast money, and you just have to get 200 points, and they did it. I don't know, it was definitely less thrilling than the other 3 rounds that we saw throughout the rest of the show, and it was just kind of like, oh, that's it, they got the money and the show's over with. So if Steve Harvey
sorry,
oh no, go ahead.
I was just gonna say I did really like Josh's answer to name someone an athlete might credit for all their success, and he said,
Oh yeah,
Michael Jordan.
Michael Jordan. Like, he even knew. He's like, "What the fuck did I say that?" Like, just the
Great
body
answer.
language when he said that was
Excellent
just like, "What?"
answer. I also love Shayna, Jeremy Mayfield's wife. Like, anytime, like, I was gonna say Al Borland, which I will. Al Borland. Richard Karn would kind of give her like a "you sure?" That sort of thing. She had this like confident little shrug, like, "Well, yeah." Like just the look on her face is fucking hilarious. Like, yeah, asshole, I said what I said. So I appreciated that very much.
So, again, this episode was not really as entertaining as I hoped it was going to be, but I think it's always fun to look back on these non-race videos and just kind of see what the sport was doing off the track in certain areas.
Well, this was part of a NASCAR week, so this wasn't the only episode in this chain.
Yeah, they said week, but this is the only one I could find.
Yeah. I looked as well. The others aren't on YouTube, but I know there are more episodes of this. But also just the reach of NASCAR to be even as, much of an afternoon kind of game show Family Feud was, for them to be able to have that kind of pull and be showing up on a bunch of different networks and a bunch of different capacities. Certainly an indicator of where the sport was back then versus where it is now.
This was pretty much at the height. Things would start to turn down towards the end of the 2000s, but
yeah.
I guess let's pose this question though. Knowing where Family Feud is now, and with Steve Harvey as a host, who would you guys want to see be the drivers on the show to do this in 2023?
Jeremy Mayfield and Kevin Harvick. Fucking A.
Okay, well,
I bet you. I can't think of any current drivers, to be honest with you. I bet you Dale Jr. would be great on there.
Yeah, I think Bubba would do good.
Well, I was gonna say,
yeah, and
Bubba
Ryan Blaney, maybe.
Bubba would be good. I would not want to see Denny on there, although I think he'd give some really fucking bizarre answers that would make no sense at all.
Yeah, nipples.
Yeah.
Every question.
Fuck. I think Corey LaJoy is enough of a cheese dick asshole. I know he, just being who he is, he's also a kickball guy. I'm sure he'd love to be on that fucking show and really ham it up. So
Kickball guys are like that, bro. It's a real
he's
thing.
definitely a pick-me guy, so he would be, begging.
Yeah, he would be good. I think Logano would be good on it too, because I think he's a goofball and very charming in a way. So I think he'd be good on there.
He's good on TV.
Yeah.
Charming, Joey Logano.
Joey Logano off the track, I enjoy him. I think he's a good commentator. I think he's funny. I think he's self-deprecating in a sense, and I enjoy hearing him do commentary. I guess Cindric would be good too. I think now that I'm talking about goofballs.
Maybe if they did like a team, not necessarily like a family, like maybe like 2311 versus like Penske or something, that we could have multiple drivers.
That would be good.
Not a NASCAR driver, but I'd love to see Tyler Carpenter on here versus Scott Bloomquist. That would be my.
Yes, holy fuck, that would be.
Imagine the shit you'd hear on that.
Steve Harvey would just walk off the set, I'm sure, multiple times.
One look at Tyler Carpenter and he would say, "Nope."
Fuck out of here.
Just a walking cigarette.
That's quite literally.
So next week, for the Video of the Week segment, so Chris Economaki was a huge part of the Talladega video, and really a big part of motorsports broadcasts up until the 90s. And next week, we're going to be watching an episode of Dave Despain's Wind Tunnel, which was a show on the Speed Channel in the 2000s about Chris Economaki. It's all about him, all about his career, his personality. For those who if that was your first taste of Chris watching last week's race, you should see more of him, because he is just every second he's on screen, he's entertaining. To me, and this is a really grandpa reference, but I think he was probably motorsports' Andy Rooney for the time period.
Well, they called him the dean
oldest.
of motorsports, so I would tend to agree with that assessment. That's a pretty fair thing to say.
Yeah, so this is going to be all about him. It's a nice little 45-minute video, so that will be on the playlist by the time you hear this. And
also, Dave Despain is probably my favorite modern racing personality. I fucking love that guy so much.
Yeah, he's really great, and it's interesting to hear him talk about his career now, because he was on Dinner with Racers a year or two ago, I want to say, and it's interesting. He was never really a NASCAR guy, even though that was a huge part of his career, but he was more into motorcycles and whatnot, and
motorcycles,
that's how,
and sprint cars and all that. Yeah.
So it's he is just a really interesting character as well. So
Yes.
anytime you can watch him do stuff is worth watching. So that will be next week.
Well, real quick before we shove off here, we haven't talked about Kenny Wallace yet today, and I feel like we need to because Kenny Wallace is hopping in a late model. He's running the Cars Tour race at South Boston this weekend, folks. That's right. Kenny Wallace back on pavement. I'm so excited.
Oh yeah.
No one else cares?
There. It's gonna rain.
I guess
Herman, what are you doing on asphalt? And I said, well, I'm running a race car out here at South Boston Speedway. He's got his glasses on and shit.
will Jughead be there? I guess that's the
I
question.
don't know, actually. I don't know if he goes to pavement races. Herman, it's your vagina.
Oh man,
Just
imagine
reaching tonight. Yeah, Kenny Wallace is running a South Boston in a Cars Tour, so that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Well,
He
that's
was supposed to
cool.
run in North Carolina earlier this year, but it did get rained out. So
Yes, I'm assuming this is the makeup date.
yeah, it is.
Well, so that's this weekend. We already mentioned we're all going to be hopefully doing racing stuff this weekend. So if you see us at one of the 3 tracks, as always, say hello and have a beer with us or do whatever. Talk about your vagina health with us. It's fine.
Please
Don't do that with me now.
Enough creeps on the internet.
Yeah,
Yeah, ask Brian about that. He's the guy. He can tell you about it.
he's your guy.
Yep.
You use the code Ask Me About My Vagina at Speedway Screens. Speedway TSJ on Etsy.
Rob doing my plugs for me this week.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
That's fine. Well, yeah. So yeah, speedwaytsj.etsy.com. Meet me at Applebee's on Instagram. Meet me at the Bees on Twitter. Speedway Screens on all the things. And here's Ashley.
Wow. He really threw me off with that one.
You know what's coming.
Yeah.
Even
but,
worse than
you know,
normal.
The delivery. It's still Snake Mountain True Love.
Are you gonna
But yeah,
change it?
I'm over it. I'm over that.
Yeah.
Strangers come up to me and call me Snake Mountain now, so it's
Nice.
just my legal name.
Snake.
But I will be at the Roval, so Saturday and Sunday. Say
That's
hello.
exciting. We didn't even talk about that. Yeah, so you'll be there. You'll be there all weekend. That's awesome.
Oh, yeah.
For what may or may not be the last race at the Roval. They haven't.
You're right. Yeah, I've been to all of them, so check that off the list.
You going with anybody we know?
Nope, I'm gonna fly solo.
Damn.
But I think me and Brian's friend Jeremy's gonna meet up with me at some point. So
That's
he was
cool.
supposed to be spotting for Jordan Taylor, but I don't know. Something about some license.
Well, there's always friends to run into in Charlotte, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will be staying on Jay's couch too. So
Well, there you
but
go.
He's got to work. He's got like a real job to do with the track. So
yeah. Jay Pennell on Twitter, if you don't follow him. He works for Racing America and does a nice little job of covering a lot of short track stuff and a lot of NASCAR stuff too. So also his book just got reissued. And I don't have the name of it in front of me. I'll make sure to mention that next week.
yeah.
So
Yeah,
congrats to him.
We'll talk about that.
Oh, it's my turn, huh?
Yeah.
Rob Motes _ unofficial on the internet. Like I said, I don't talk about anything on there. So it's just no reason to follow me. But my band, These Wild Plains, we will be playing some shows coming up. I've mentioned these before. Nothing else new besides these two. We're coming to Richmond and Charlotte pretty soon. October 13th, the Thirsty Beaver. Wow. Thirsty Beaver in Charlotte, North Carolina. And then October 14th at the Camel in Richmond. Also a brand new piece of music coming out on October 13th. First new single in a couple years, I guess. So, yeah. All that's coming up, and you can find us if you just type These Wild Plains into the internet. You can see all of this. But looking forward to seeing some of y'all. And like Brian said earlier, if you catch me out at the racetrack, let's have a beer together. And I'm sure that goes for everybody else here. So,
Yeah.
and may the rains stay away. Though True Love has the best chance of not getting rained out, I suppose.
Yeah, it's supposed to be real clear and nice.
Well, they can at least run in the rain with NASCAR.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a feeling I won't be seeing any racing this weekend, but who knows? Things could clear up.
Damn. Also, shout out to fucking Chief Petty Officer Chris Davis, good friend of ours from our fantasy league. He just got a nice fat promotion in the Navy, and I'm supposed to be seeing him on Friday night, so I owe him a nice tall fucking Budweiser off the taps at Thompson. We'll both get sick together off that. And congratulations on the big promotion there, bud. Can't wait to hang out with you this Friday if God allows it. So.
Tell him to pack his poncho.
Cool. All right, folks. Well, thanks again for joining us at Applebee's, and we'll talk to you next week.